Laura Handke, Lake Oswego's transformational voice teacher, back again today with the final video on Abella's journey. We're going to talk today about emotional expressivity. I am also an actor. I don't audition often, so I don't get cast often, but one of my favorite things to do is be in a theatrical production on stage. Well, something acting has in common with vocal expression is the necessity for emotional expressivity. What does that mean? Well, as one of my first authentic performance acting students had to say, what she was surprised to learn is that acting is not slapping on a character. What acting is, really effective, those Oscar-nominated performances, the ones that really just keep you riveted and touch you emotionally, are because the actor is feeling something on stage or behind the camera. Same is true of speaking, same is true of singing, and of acting. So that's what emotional expressivity really means. It's courageous, it's generous to give of yourself emotionally, and that is what is going to touch your audience. Now, I remember my first real acting teacher, Joe Dodge, at the Pinnacle Theater in Salem, Oregon, saying to me that when you get up on stage and you're all nervous and you're afraid you're going to lose your lines and you think you're going to suck and blah, 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 you're being selfish. Because it's all about me, 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 and has absolutely nothing to do with what you can give to your audience, what you can share with them, how you can emotionally touch them. Well, it sounded a little harsh the first time I heard her say that. Selfish. You're being selfish. Stop being nervous. That's selfish. But guess what? I got it. Because when you're thinking about yourself, you can't focus on your audience. And as speakers, as vocalists, as singers, as performers, that is our job. Our job is to touch our audience, to give them something, to share of ourselves. Okay? So that's what emotional expressivity means. And yes, of course, you might have a little stage fright. Remember to breathe. And of course, you want to be very well rehearsed. If you're going to do a concert, you're going to have to memorize a lot of songs, right? You want to have, oh, and of course, if you're in a play, you've got this entire dialogue that you have to have memorized. And you have to have gone over it so many times that it's subconscious and you don't have to think about it at all. Now, as speakers, it's a little bit different. You don't need to memorize your entire speech word for word. In fact, if you do, sometimes it could make us come across as kind of robotic. So what you want to have memorized are all of your key points. And of course, as a speaker, use notes. I mean, look what I got here. There's nothing wrong with this, right? So have your key points memorized, know your opening line, know your closing. But other than that, you don't have to know your speech word for word. It's fine not to. It's probably better if you don't. But the most important thing is to be present emotionally, moment to moment, which is an acting term, all throughout the speech, the song, whatever it is that you're about to give, that you're about to share with your audience. Okay? So, physical movement, gestures. Let's talk about this just a little bit, because I hear this from Toastmasters all the time. Toastmasters is the world's largest speaking organization, for those of you who may not have heard that term. So Toastmasters like to talk about gestures a lot. And so I hear things like, keep your arms hanging naturally at your side, but have plenty of intentional gestures and things like that. Well, I'm going to probably come across as a little bit of a heretic here, but that whole keep your arms hanging naturally by your sides thing, I don't buy it. I have a tendency to want to clasp my hands in front of me, and I think that's just fine. I don't do it all the time. I mean, you don't want to stand here and keep your hands like this throughout your whole entire speech. Of course not. But the thing is, physical movement on stage as an actor needs to be motivated by an emotion. You feel like standing up, stand up. If you get mad, you want to, bolt across the room, do it. So the same is true of your gestures as a speaker. If you're feeling something, your gestures are going to come naturally, just like when you're talking to your roommate, your spouse, your puppy, whatever. So gestures need to be motivated by an emotion. what? Other than remembering to breathe, I think that's it for this last video. Abella was feeling something when she got up to speak before she sang. She thanked her restaurant audience for coming from her heart. She felt something, and she remembered to relax her abdomen and to breathe before she started to sing. You remember those things too. And again, thank you for joining me on Abella's journey. Remember, the world needs your authentic truth spoken in your authentic voice. I appreciate you joining me on the journey. Please keep posted at laurahandke.com for any upcoming classes and for the upcoming voice labs. Again, thanks for joining me on the journey. And remember, love your voice and voice your love.